Hey guys, welcome to the Gorilla Mick Podcast. I know I'm going to go ahead and get this question right off the bat because we've all been wanting to know. Josh, what's your favorite Michael Jackson song?
I don't really listen to Michael Jackson, but probably Thriller, just because of the dance.
Oh yeah, yeah. Mine's probably Billie Jean. I think Thriller's probably number 2 for me.
I think Thriller is almost everybody's favorite.
Except mine.
Yeah, apparently.
So Josh is a minister. So I just want to ask Josh first off, what made you want to get into the ministry, and what is the toughest part about being a pastor?
What wanted me to get into it is when I was like 6 years old, and I was watching a pastor preach, and I just thought like that's what I want to do. Like I just watched, how people responded, the presence of the Lord and how sincere he was. And I was like, that's what I want to do in my life. And then he told me, after I said, I went to him, I said, this is what I want to do in my life. And he said to me, you really don't know what you're asking for. And I'm like, now doing it 100%. I didn't know what I was asking for. Like the hardest thing I think is like when you give advice to people and you really feel like this is what the Lord wants them to do, and then they still do the opposite thing, and what you told them would happen happens, and then you also have to be there to help them through the mess they just created for themselves.
Yeah, I'm sure that probably happens quite a bit. Probably
Yeah.
even probably giving me advice too that I've steered away from. I don't know if it's directed towards me or
I'm
not,
not
but
mentioning name. No, it's not directed to you.
uh, yeah. So what's been the biggest positive thing for you in the ministry?
Yeah, seeing people just reacting, just being able to, when you interact with someone and like you share a scripture or share something with them, and then like, oh my gosh, like the light bulb, you can see the light bulb go off. They're like, oh my gosh, that's what this means. And watching them follow through with it, not just hearing it, but actually taking that scripture, taking it to heart and watching them go forth with it.
Yeah, so I also see a lot of pastors online, and they're giving marriage advice and advice to couples and things like that. What's one thing that you would advise to couples or married couples? Uh,
Don't
just a
do it.
solid.
Don't do it. I'm just kidding. No. So I would just say to them like, pray together is an obvious thing, and always talk everything through. Don't just assume that the other person is just going to agree with the decision that you have in your head, because a lot of times you can be like, oh, this is definitely what we're going to do, and then your wife is like, what are you doing? Did you not talk to me about it? So always talk everything through.
Yeah, what's the biggest mistake that you see married couples make?
Well, that's just it. I think that goes hand in hand. Like communication is the biggest thing. Like not communicating. Like,
Yep.
yeah, I could tell my friend something, and then I tell my wife, this is what I told my friend. There, she's like, "You didn't tell me." Like, So
Yeah.
I think like telling them first is the biggest thing. Communication.
Yeah. So how do you handle so some of the stuff being in the ministry? It's tough because you have to tell people things that necessarily they need to hear, but they don't want to hear. So how is that?
That's really hard, because like you really don't know how they're going to take it. And that's why you always got to be led by the Lord when you do it, not just on a whim say like, you're really screwing this up. You know what I mean? Like you got to be able to tell them, hey, I see this, like you're maybe going in the wrong direction here. Like, and you never know how they're going to respond, but I would say 5% of the time they respond good, and then thank me for like just being open and honest. There's a few times where people are like, what are you talking about? And you're like, okay, well, they're not ready to receive this yet.
I think a lot of times people probably take it as a personal insult, and they don't realize that you're actually trying to help them. Like, you don't dislike them as a person. You could disagree with some of the things that they do, but you don't necessarily dislike them as a person. So I think they take it as a personal insult sometimes. I don't know if you would agree with that or not.
Oh, 100%. You know, that's where our pride gets in the way, like our own ego. Like we don't want to accept criticism, but then at the after you tell them, I guarantee you, 9 times out of 10, they go home and they're like, "Man, he was right." Like or she was right. Like and so yeah, it's not a personal thing. Like if you want to get out of the situation you're in, something has to change.
Yeah, that's one big thing for me. Honestly, the best friends that I have and anybody in business, they're the ones that just shoot me straight. They're the ones that just tell me like it is. But you people don't think that when you get over that obstacle of criticism and being able to be coachable and things like that, I think that's when you really start to grow. I mean, you're not gonna grow with people around you that are like minded. You have to have people, you know, from all backgrounds, and I'm sure you learn things from people too that you talk to.
Well, like if you already think you know everything, you're not going
Yeah,
to receive anything. So you got to keep yourself open. Like if you want to do something or grow, you don't grow by thinking you already know the answer. You grow by learning and from other people's criticism, other people's thoughts. That's why before you do anything, it's good to reach out to like 3 people and figure out, hey, what do you think about this? Because each one of them hopefully doesn't just tell you what you want to hear. Hopefully one of them's like, I don't know if you should do it this way. I don't think you should do it that way. And it's up to me to take that criticism and in.
Episode 1, Pastor Joshua Worrell. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for more episodes.